All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Unit 6, review number 6. I'm going to take it, it'll be in 3 different videos. I'm going to work a couple problems at a time and then go from there. So this is 1 through 7. This is the video for problems 1 through 7. All right, there are a couple of ways that you can work. Number 1, I'm going to start by working by converting it. So I know ultimately I want to get it in slope-intercept form. Oh, actually, I'm not going to convert this. When I take a look at this, I can see that this is in standard form. So I can graph it and then write the equation. So I'm going to start by using duck and cover to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So I'm going to find the x-intercept. I cover this y up, which gives me the equation 3x equals -6. Then, to find the y-intercept, I cover the x up, which gives me y equals -6. Now I'm finished with the y equals -6, so I know that that y-intercept is 0, -6. If it's the y-intercept, then the y value, or the value of y, goes in the negative, in the y's position. Now to solve for the x-intercept, all I have to do is divide by 3. Now we're far enough along in algebra, you actually don't have to show that division step for most teachers. Check with your teacher. But for me, you could have said 3x equals -6 and then x equals -2. However, I do want to make sure you notice that you do have to show this step. We have to be able to understand that you found the intercepts. So I know that x equals -2, so it's going to be -2, 0 are my intercepts. So I'm going to graph -2, 0 as my x-intercept, 0, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as my y-intercept. And you're going to use a straight edge, meaning you're going to use your ID to draw a nice straight line. My line is not going to be straight because I'm on the computer and because I don't have a straight edge. I know the answer to the key feature of the y-intercept, which is 0, -6. If it says it's a y-intercept, I have to write it as a point. Now I need to find the slope. To find the slope, I'm just going to draw my triangle between 2 dots. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is my y change, and 2 is my change on the x. So I know that my slope is 6 over 2, which simplifies to 3 over 1, and that is actually negative, which I could have figured out because I went up 6, left 2, which means I would have to have this as a negative. Now when I write my equation, it's quite simple. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, which means I put the slope in there and I put the b in there. So it's going to be y equals -3x minus 6. And I'm now finished with that one. I'm going to take a look at problem number 2. On problem number 2, the first thing I notice is that this is in slope-intercept form. I'm sorry, point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you know what? I'm going to write that above the line instead of below the line, just for spacing. Which tells me that my y1 value is here and my x1 value is here and my slope is -4. So I know my slope is -4. So my slope is -4, which is the same as -4 over 1. And I know my point is, now remember, points go x, y, correct? So it's going to be x1, y1. And I really want you to pay attention because this is a common mistake. My point is -1, +10. Notice that when these come out and go into the point, they change signs, and that's because of the minus that's in this equation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot that point. So -1, 10, which is right here. That's my point. And my slope is -4, which means I'm going to go down 4, right 1. So to find my next point, I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. Down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. Now you only need to do about 2 or 3 points. I'm going to do more than that because I don't have a straight edge. Now, I have some students that leave their graphs looking just like this, and the problem with this is you haven't connected it. That is, this function is continuous, so you need to draw the graph like it is continuous. Now, from here, I was able to figure out that the y-intercept is right here at, what is that at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that b equals 6, which means my y-intercept is at 0, 6. Again, if it says y-intercept, you have to write it as a point. If it says the value, then you would just write 6, or if it asks for b, you would write 6. Now I have the pieces that I need for slope-intercept form, and so I write that equation as y equals negative 4x plus 6, and we're finished. All right, problem number 3. Again, I can either convert it or I can use standard form duck and cover to get my points and then figure stuff out. I think duck and cover is easier, and I don't know that duck and cover is really the good name for it. It's certainly not mathematically correct, but what I'm doing is I'm finding the intercepts. So I'm going to start by finding the x-intercept. If I find the x-intercept, which term do I cover up in this one? Go ahead and answer out loud. Yeah, you're correct. So, pardon me. If I'm going to find the x-intercept, then I cover up the y term, which means I have 2x equals negative 9. And essentially what I'm doing there is I'm putting 0 in. And so then I'm going to divide by 2, and so I know x equals 9/2. And you can put that as a decimal if that's what you need. But that's really, you can leave it as 9/2 in high school. And we're fine with that. Now, I'm going to find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept. If I do the y-intercept, then I cover up the 2x. Notice the negative in front of the 3y goes with it. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3, and y equals 3. So I know that I have an x-intercept at negative 4.50. Notice x-intercept, the number goes in the x position. And I have the y-intercept at 0, 3. Notice y-intercept, the y goes in there. So I know my y-intercept is at 0, 3. I'm going to go graph that point. And then my x-intercept is negative 4.50, which is right here. Now with a straight edge, I can draw that line without any problem. What's going to be tricky on this one is how to find the slope. Okay, so finding the slope here might have been easier if I had converted. So I'm going to draw my triangle. Notice that this x-intercept is halfway between, and so it's going to change. My triangle's the same, but it is going to change a little bit. So watch. So I go up 1, 2, 3. No change there. But when I go this way, that's now 1. Once I get to half, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So this is 4.5. So I know that my slope is 3. I almost did that wrong. Is 3 divided by 4.5, which is, hold on, let me do it on my calculator real quick. You end up with 0.666 repeating. So on your calculator, you would just type in 0.6 and fill up the screen all the way. So it's like 0.66666, and then do math, enter, enter, and it'll give you the fraction 2/3. So I know the slope is 2/3. Now I have everything I need to write it in slope-intercept form. So I say y equals 2/3 x plus 3. And then the slope is 2/3. All right, problem number 4. All right, a horizontal line that passes through negative 5, 4. All right, if it's a horizontal line, now let's talk about how to remember horizontal, okay? Some of you may have been to the beach, but I know everybody has been outside. okay? When I go to the beach, right, like I'm sitting on the beach here, there's my little umbrella, right, and I'm looking out over the ocean, and way in the distance, you can see the ocean and you can see the sun starting to set. This line right here is the horizon, okay? It's horizontal. It lays down, okay? So if it's horizontal, it lays down. Notice the Z that's in horizontal. It lays down. So that's a way to remember that it's horizontal for those of you that can't remember which direction a line is that's horizontal. All right, but let me get back to this problem. So if it's horizontal and it passes through negative 5, 4, we have a phrase that we use. It's called vux hoi. Okay? If it's horizontal, that means you're going to use hoi. So I'm going to ignore vux. Now, just in case you don't remember what hoi is, and for those of you that do, I'm sorry that I'm pausing here, but hoi means that it's a horizontal line that the slope is 0, and that when you write the equation, it looks like y equals a number. So if I know it's a horizontal line, then I know that the slope is 0 because of hoi. And the equation is going to be y equals a number. So if I look here at this point, this is x and y. So I know the equation is going to be y equals 4. So when I'm graphing it, I go to the y-axis, that's right here. I go to where it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, draw my point, I know it's a horizontal line, there we go, we're done. Now taking a look at 5, again, I have my point xy, so it says the line passes through this point, look, it's the same point that we just had, and has an undefined slope. Okay, so if it's an undefined slope, then I know it's vux. And I know it's vux because vux means vertical line, m equals undefined, and when I write the equation, it's x equals a number. Okay, now, just to be real clear, on the slope, you can't say none. Okay, undefined is undefined, not none. Because if you say none, that means m equals 0, which is a horizontal line. So that's not true. Okay, so you have to say undefined. So I know it's an undefined slope. That means it's vertical. That means it's x equals a number. So I know the equation is x equals negative 5. And I know the slope is undefined. To draw that line, I graph that point, negative 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if it's undefined, I know it's vertical. Vertical is going up and down. Right? And so I graph that line. Taking a look at number 6. Oh, before I go on, there's actually a pink card that has vux hoi written on it that you can use in your Baggie. So if you can't remember vux hoi, you want to ask your teacher for that pink card so you can add it to your Baggie packet. All right, number 6. It says use the graph shown to answer the following. Okay, so they want to know what the slope is. That's easy. I'm just going to draw my triangle 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So the slope is the rise over the run, so I know the slope is 2/3. What's the y-intercept? The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, which is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know the y-intercept is at 0, negative 6. If it says y-intercept, that means you have to write it as a point. If it says x-intercept, you have to write it as a point. Now that's the 4th time I've told you that, and I know your teacher has told you that a lot. So you need to write it as a point. We're not going to give you credit if you write it wrong. A 0 is the x-intercept, but it's only the x value for the x-intercept, okay? So if I look right here at this x-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can see it's at 4, 0. So I know that the 0 is 4, meaning the x value of the x-intercept is 4. Now, if I want to write an equation, I can write any equation I want, but for me, y equals mx plus b would be the easiest because I've got everything I need right there. And we're ready to go. All right. Taking a look at problem number 7, again, the same process. We're using the graph to figure out all of the key features. So I'm going to start by looking at the y-intercept, which the y-intercept is at 0, 2. It looks like the x-intercept is right there. And the x-intercept is at 3, 0. Okay. Now I don't like how that green is showing up, so I'm switching colors. So my y-intercept, if I ask for it as an intercept, you have to write it as a point, which means it has to have the parentheses and the comma. My y-intercept is at 0, 2. My 0 is the x-intercept, but it's just the x value. So my 0 is 3. All I need to do now is find the slope, and I'm going to go find 2 good points. And I'm going to use the intercepts. Okay, let me erase this stuff just so it doesn't get in our way. All right, and I'm going to draw my triangle. So that's up 1, 2, and then over 1, 2, 3. And so I know my slope is the change in y over the change in x. So I know that's 2/3. And if you look at this graph, this line, if we read it from left to right, it's going down. So I know it's negative 2/3. So my equation in slope-intercept form, remember slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and it's called slope-intercept because it's the slope and the y-intercept that we use to create that. So I would just say y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Now this is the first video of 3 videos. So you're going to need to make sure you watch the other 2 videos if you need any other problems. Okay, so this is video 1 of review number 6, and there are 2 more videos.